Circuses weren't always about acrobats and laughter. Some hid a darker side that still unsettles people today. Behind the bright tents were performers whose appearances, stunts, or strange conditions shocked entire crowds. They weren't only unusual, they scared audiences, but they also forced the world to see the human body in a new way. This isn't just circus history, it's the side that kept people awake at night. So get ready, because these are the 15 strangest and scariest circus freaks that actually existed. Number 15. Lionel the Lionfaced Man. Golden hair covered every inch of his body, giving him a face that looked half man, half lion. Stefan Bobrowski was born in 1890 in Bielsk, Poland, with hypertrichosis, a condition that caused abnormal hair growth up to 8 inches long. His mother initially considered him cursed, but a showman named Meyer took him to perform in Europe under the name Lionel the Lionfaced Man. By the early 1900s, he toured with Barnum and Bailey Circus, becoming one of its most striking figures. Lionel wasn't just a spectacle. He spoke 5 languages and performed acrobatics on stage. Audiences called him terrifying and fascinating at the same time. Even off stage, he kept his trademark mane combed and styled daily. He eventually retired to Germany, where he lived quietly until his death in 1932. To this day, his image remains one of the most recognizable from the golden age of circus sideshows. Number 14. Chang and Ang Bunker. Imagine being so inseparable that even breathing feels shared. That was life for Chang and Ang Bunker, conjoined twins born May 11, 1811, in Siam, modern-day Thailand. Joined at the chest by a band of cartilage, they spent most of their lives traveling with exhibitions that introduced them as the Siamese twins. They arrived in the United States in 1829 and quickly became international sensations. After years on the road, they left the stage and settled in North Carolina. They later married sisters Adelaide and Sarah Yates, fathering 21 children between them. Each twin had control of one half of the body, yet they learned perfect coordination in daily tasks. Despite their unusual anatomy, both men lived full, active lives until their deaths on January 17, 1874. Their preserved medical records remain a landmark study of conjoined physiology, long before modern medicine could explain it. Number 13. Priscilla Behano. Hair framed her entire face, giving her a primate-like appearance that audiences found both eerie and captivating. Priscilla Behano was born on April 26, 1911, in Bayamon, Puerto Rico, with hypertrichosis and double rows of teeth. She began performing in carnivals at just 3 years old under the management of her father. In 1938, she married Emmett Behano, known as the Alligator-Skinned Man. Together, they became a famous circus duo billed as the world's strangest married couple. Priscilla's charm often softened the shock of her look. She sang, greeted crowds, and smiled through every appearance. Her partnership with Emmett lasted decades, performing for Ripley's Believe It or Not and other sideshows across America. The couple eventually retired to Florida, living quietly after decades in the spotlight. Priscilla passed away on February 5, 2001, leaving behind a legacy built on endurance and one of the longest performing sideshow careers ever recorded. Now it's time for number 12. Carl Herman Unthan. Music echoed louder than words whenever Carl Herman Unthan stepped on stage. Born April 5, 1848, in East Prussia without arms, he learned to use his feet for nearly everything. By his teenage years, he could write, eat, and even play the violin with astonishing skill. His first public concert shocked audiences not just because he played flawlessly, but because he changed strings mid-performance using only his toes. Touring across Europe, Egypt, and America, Unthan became a sensation in classical and sideshow circles alike. He also appeared in early silent films, demonstrating how precision could overcome physical absence. In 1935, his autobiography, The Armless Fiddler, a Petascript, was published posthumously, giving insight into his life as both musician and performer. Carl Herman Unan died in Berlin on November 19, 1929, after decades of redefining what audiences thought the human body could accomplish on a stage. Number 11. Minnie Woolsey. A strange mix of costumes, feathers, and laughter followed her wherever she performed. Minnie Woolsey, best known as Cuckoo the Bird Girl, became one of the eeriest figures in early sideshow history. Born around 1880 in Georgia, she reportedly lived with microcephaly and a skeletal frame that enhanced her odd appearance. She performed with traveling circuses and gained lasting fame after appearing in the 1932 cult film Freaks. Wearing a feathered outfit and moving in sharp bird-like motions, she both fascinated and unsettled audiences. Her voice was high-pitched, her movements unpredictable, and her presence unforgettable. Off-stage, little is known about her personal life or final years, which adds to her mysterious legacy. No official death record survives, leaving historians to piece together her story from photos and film archives, remnants of one of the strangest performers ever to grace a circus tent. Number 10. Frank Lentini. Frank Lentini was born May 18, 1889 in Rossellini, Sicily, with a rare partial twin condition that left him with 3 legs and 2 sets of genitals. At just 8 years old, his family moved to the United States, where he began performing in small traveling shows. By his teenage years, he was part of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Lentini used his extra limb to perform tricks, kick footballs, and even ride bicycles on stage. Audiences were fascinated by how balanced and coordinated he appeared despite his anatomy. Medical experts documented his case in journals, noting that the 3rd leg was partially functional. Lentini became one of the most professional performers in sideshow history, admired for his calm presentation and skill rather than shock value. He performed for nearly 5 decades before retiring in Florida, where he died in 1966 at 77. Get ready for Number 9. Schlitzy. Known for his small stature, round head, and childlike behavior, Schlitzy became one of the most recognized sideshow performers of the 20th century. Born around 1901, likely in New York City, he lived with microcephaly, a condition causing an undersized skull and limited cognitive development. Schlitzy stood just over 4 feet tall and spoke in short phrases, but his energetic stage presence made him a favorite among circus audiences. He toured with Ringling Brothers, Clyde Beatty Circus, and others for decades. In 1932, Schlitzy appeared in the MGM film Freaks, which cemented his fame worldwide. Medical researchers often referenced his physical proportions in later studies of microcephaly. Even after retirement, Schlitzy continued performing under the care of his manager until his death in 1971. His real name remains uncertain, but his image remains one of the most recognizable in early circus history. Number 8. Prince Randian. Prince Randian was one of the most remarkable performers of the early circus era. Born in 1871 in Demerara, British Guiana, he had no arms or legs from birth, but learned to use his body with precision and speed. He was discovered by P.T. Barnum and brought to the United States, where he performed in the Barnum and Bailey Circus for more than 40 years. Randian amazed audiences by writing, painting, and even lighting cigarettes using only his lips and shoulders. He could roll cigarettes, shave, and open boxes faster than most people with limbs. He spoke several languages, including English, French, and Hindi, making him a favorite among both spectators and performers. In 1932, he appeared in the film Freaks, performing his cigarette-rolling act. Randian died on December 19, 1934, after a performance at Madison Square Garden in New York City. His precision and self-control made him one of the sideshow history's most studied performers. Number 7. Myrtle Corbin. Myrtle Corbin was born May 12, 1868, in Lincoln County, Tennessee, with a condition known as dipigus, 2 pelvises and an extra pair of legs. She began performing at age 13 under the title The Four-Legged Girl from Texas, and quickly drew large crowds. Her additional limbs were smaller and weaker but fully formed, making her one of the most anatomically documented cases of the 1800s. Physicians studied her condition for decades, publishing detailed medical reports about her structure and movement. Myrtle toured across America with Ringling Bros and other major circuses before retiring in her 20s. In 1886, she married physician James Clinton Bicknell, and the couple had 5 children. Despite medical interest, she lived a stable private life after leaving the stage. Corbin's preserved medical documentation remains one of the most detailed historical references to congenital duplication, regularly cited in early anatomical and clinical archives. Are you ready for? Number 6. Wang the Human Unicorn. Wang was a Chinese farmer who became world famous during the late 1800s for possessing a single horn-like growth on his forehead. Photographs taken by early Western travelers show the horn extending nearly 14 inches, spiraling forward like a cone. Records from that era describe the growth as keratin-based, similar to fingernails, formed through a rare skin disorder known as cutaneous horn. The image of Wang circulated across Europe and America through medical journals and traveling exhibitions. It eventually caught the attention of sideshow promoters, who offered to bring him overseas for public display. Reports suggest that Wang declined several offers, preferring to remain in his village while scientists documented his condition. His portrait became one of the most reproduced oddity photographs of the Victorian age. The exact year of his birth and death remains unverified, but his case remains among the earliest documented examples of extreme horn growth in recorded medical history. Number 5. Grace McDaniels. Grace McDaniels was born on March 17, 1888 in Numa, Iowa, with a severe facial deformity later identified as a form of Sturge-Weber syndrome. Her face developed thick, dark tissue around the mouth and chin, creating the long, mule-like appearance that defined her stage persona. She began performing in 1935 after winning a small-town Ugliest Woman contest, which led to contracts with Harry Lewiston's traveling circus. Grace earned about $175 per week, a solid income for the Depression era, and became one of the most photographed sideshow performers of her time. Despite her condition, she managed her own bookings and rejected publicity that mocked her appearance. Her show banner often read, "The Mule-Faced Woman," yet audiences admired her confidence and professionalism. She continued performing until her death on July 29, 1958 in Chicago. Her medical photographs remain preserved in archives that document early 20th century facial deformities and sideshow exhibition culture. Number 4. Fedor Jeffu. Crowds often fell silent when Fedor Jeffu appeared under the tent lights. Born in 1868 in St. Petersburg, Russia, he inherited a genetic condition called hypertrichosis that covered his entire face and body with long hair. He began performing as a child with his father, who shared the same condition, before joining P.T. Barnum's American Circus in the 1880s. Promoters built a myth around him, claiming he was a feral boy found in a forest. In reality, Fedor spoke several languages and was polite, intelligent, and precise during shows. His thick beard and wolf-like features gave him a haunting presence that fit perfectly into sideshow culture's obsession with the bizarre. He traveled across Europe and the United States, often photographed beside performers twice his size or completely hairless for contrast. Fedor continued touring until his death from pneumonia in 1904 while performing in Greece, leaving behind one of the most documented faces in circus history. It's time for Number 3. Ella Harper. Posters called her the Camel Girl for a reason that startled every audience. Ella Harper was born on January 5, 1870 in Hendersonville, Tennessee, with backward-bending knees caused by congenital genu recurvatum. Instead of hiding her unusual legs, she performed with W.H. Harris's nickel-plate Circus in 1886, astonishing spectators by walking comfortably on all fours. She earned roughly $200 per week, an impressive sum for the time, and became one of the most popular performers of her circuit. Unlike many in the same trade, Ella appeared only for a short period before deciding to pursue education and normal work. Historical advertisements described her as the most wonderful freak of nature, though modern historians treat her career as an early example of medical documentation through performance. After leaving the stage, she married Robert Savely, a schoolteacher, and lived quietly in Nashville until her death in 1921. Her preserved posters remain a reminder of 19th century curiosity culture. Number 2. Joseph Merrick. London's exhibition halls once displayed Joseph Merrick as the Elephant Man, a performer whose body defied explanation. Born August 5, 1862 in Leicester, England, Merrick developed severe bone and skin deformities early in life. His head grew abnormally large, and thick tissue folds formed across his face and body, creating the image that shocked Victorian audiences. By 1884, he toured freak shows across England, managed by Tom Norman, who displayed him to curious crowds. When sideshows were banned, Merrick was examined at the London hospital, where doctors documented his condition extensively. He earned enough from exhibitions to support himself independently and continued medical examinations for several years. Researchers still debate whether he suffered from Proteus syndrome or a combination of rare genetic disorders. Merrick died April 11, 1890, likely from suffocation while sleeping upright to support his enlarged head. His skeleton and medical notes remain central to 19th century pathology studies. Number 1. Cra Farini. Cra Farini became one of the most promoted sideshow performers of the 19th century. She was born in 1876 in Laos and lived with a rare condition that caused thick hair growth across her face and body. Explorer Carl Bach introduced her to the promoter William Leonard Hunt, better known as the Great Farini. To attract crowds fascinated by Darwin's new theory of evolution, they billed her as the missing link, claiming she was evidence of a stage between humans and apes. In 1883, she arrived in London and later toured the United States under P.T. Barnum's management. Cra was multilingual, often demonstrating reading and conversation skills on stage to challenge assumptions about her appearance. She lived independently in Brooklyn, New York, performing occasionally until her death on April 16, 1926. Records show she requested cremation after death to prevent public display, closing a career that defined how 19th century showmen used science and spectacle to sell curiosity. The world of the old circus wasn't all lights and applause. It was a stage where human difference became both art and shock. These performers may be gone, but their stories still reveal how far people would go to witness the unusual. If you enjoyed exploring this darker corner of history, make sure to hit like, subscribe so you never miss what's next. Thanks for watching and get ready because the next countdown is even stranger.